Welcome, everybody, to the Shero Live. I'm Beth Shero. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Shero Commerce. We have a great topic here today. We're going to be talking about all things B2B on Shopify and SparkLayer. So we have a great guest with us today for SparkLayer. So super excited about the topic, and welcome again for joining us. It's August. Can't believe it's the end of the summer already. Before we dive in, just a quick recap on the past month. So we were at the Commerce event in Austin, which was great to see the latest updates from them and everything that they're doing there. And we have a couple of events coming up. We're actually doing an event today with Feedonomics, which is super exciting. And next month in September, we'll be at the UK Ecom Expo in London. So look for our team there. And Gentian, my partner, will be in Finland doing a road show, meeting, doing some events around Shopify with our Nordics team. So lots of great things happening. And also, one more final thing before we dive into our topic. It will be our 10-year anniversary in Albania operating there. So we're going to do a little bit of celebration to celebrate the team there and just the success that we've seen overall from operating out of Albania. So let's dive into our topic. Let's welcome our guest from SparkLayer, Alex Weston. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And congrats on your 10 years in Albania. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we've been operating in the US for just over 15 years now, and Albania 10 already. It's like the
Wow.
time just flies by.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's been 5 years of SparkLayer's existence this year as well. So,
Oh, wow.
you
Okay.
know,
Big
maybe we'll
one.
do some joint celebrations at the Ecom Expo in London.
Yes, I would love that. That's awesome. Well, welcome. It would be great for all of our visitors to, learn more about you and what SparkLayer is. And we do have, a deep dive that we're going to talk all things B2B. But I think, let's do a little intro so people can understand your
Yeah.
background and how, what does SparkLayer offer people?
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm Alex. I'm the sales director at SparkLayer. So I basically have the job of looking after everything commercial. So that's everything from our marketing to sales to customer success, anything that kind of relates to bringing new customers on board and helping them continue to grow with the platform, basically. So I've been at SparkLayer for a couple of years, but my background's all in e-commerce. So I've had the pleasure of working at back office systems like Brightpearl, and then also like email marketing platform. And email. I think I worked at two email marketing platforms actually before that. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a journey through lots of different e-commerce technologies that led me to arrive at SparkLayer, which has been super fun. So yeah, as I said, we've been around for sort of, well, I say the business has existed for 5 years. I think we've probably been around for sort of 3 or 4 really in the market and really sort of pushing it. So and we've really grown pretty rapidly. So we've got about 2,500 customers, and what we do for those customers is basically provide B2B software. So we help all of those customers to add B2B functionality, usually onto an existing website that they may have on Shopify or BigCommerce or WooCommerce or something like that, and basically bring wholesale and B2B functionality to them so that they can help their customers order more easily and help their sales reps to manage orders as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about us. We operate in lots of different markets, similar to you guys. We're, got a lot of customers in the US, but also we're based in the UK. We've got a lot of customers here, Australia, New Zealand, and all across Europe as well. So yeah, very broad spread of lots of different customers using SparkLayer.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to dig more into that because I've been speaking to your team for a couple of years now. And I think when we first started talking, the B2B space in Shopify specifically wasn't quite as mature as today. Obviously, there's still more room to grow there, but you were really filling this gap and like being more agnostic, which I
Mm.
love, to help B2B customers online because we're going to kind of dive into like the state of B2B as
Yeah.
we start this conversation. I feel like for years I've heard like, oh, there's such a market for B2B customers to be online and selling. And I think now is like, it's actually happening. People are seeing the reasons why this needs to happen. Younger generations are like coming into buying in the B2B space. And just the fact that SparkLayer can provide the tools to help
Mm.
people set these things up and onboard customers, which we're going to talk about in more detail as we get into the conversation. But I always am a firm believer that technology should empower brands to grow, not hinder them. So I'm always like very excited to talk about tech that really lives by that value, right?
Yeah, totally. For sure. I think it's yeah, you're absolutely right. Gotta empower people and definitely not be the thing that holds anybody back. So yeah, definitely. Well, I'm excited to dig into it. It's a fun topic to talk about, which it probably didn't used to be. So
I know, right? The new sexy thing, maybe, or
yeah,
not,
exactly.
depending how you look at it.
Exactly
For
right.
you and I, it's sexy, but not for other people.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we have a couple of slides. Let's bring up the first one. I just thought it'd be kind of like good to kind of recap where we're at in the state of B2B and wholesale. And obviously, this includes manufacturers to some degree as well. We're still seeing a large percentage of orders coming through emails, phone calls, faxes. So, there's a number of reasons why this is happening. Old habits die hard, so to speak, right?
Mm, totally.
But I think we're going to enlighten people a little bit more of how we can streamline this and help you if you have a B2B business and want to have more online orders, of how to encourage that. And I think the other big piece of this that I kind of hinted at in the beginning was the generational changes. Gen Z and millennials are definitely growing in the workspace. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're all growing up. I'm a millennial myself, and have to work to pay the bills, right? So, as we see these younger generations come into the workforce, we're expecting things differently than past generations, right? Like, we want
Yeah.
speed, we want things digital, we want tools to be easier. And I think as like someone in this demographic, I want to be able to order stuff online easily. Obviously, I'm not a B2B buyer, but I'm just kind of reflecting on like my expectation as an e-commerce person and like even someone that buys products. I think the same rules kind of apply. And that,
Totally.
you know, B2B buyers are looking in different places. They want simplicity. They want their job to be easier because they have so many things they need to tackle, right? So, in summary, the website should really make it easier for the buyers to order in bulk and not hinder their ability to do that quickly, right? Would you agree with that statement, Alex?
Yeah, 100%. I think you're absolutely right. Like you and I are both millennials. We shop online. We have always probably shopped online for the last sort of, whatever it is, 10, 20 years. We're used to that way of purchasing. And I think
Yes.
back to your previous point, used to that way of purchasing is probably the key part around all of these different trends, really, in that what drives people to order through email, phone call, or fax machines, they're just used to that way of purchasing. And until
Yes.
you kind of train someone or allow someone to order in a different way, they won't get used to it. What I find interesting though is it's quite industry specific sometimes as well,
Oh,
and
okay. Cool.
and particularly like fax machines seem to sort of crop up quite a lot in, particularly like the suit and shirt industry. Weirdly, as a very specific niche, like there
Okay.
there just seems to be like a lot of fax machines flying about in that specific industry, which
I
is
didn't
very
even
strange.
know people still have fax
That that
machines.
actually still does exist. So,
I
but
know.
what is interesting in speaking to brands in that industry is exactly this shift, is that the people that are quite like fashion conscious and the people that work there are obviously now kind of trying to revamp some of these brands to be a little bit more kind of um, on trend in terms of the style of the clothes themselves, but also how that buying experience kind of appears online as well. And those two things kind
Yes.
of go hand in hand in terms of how do I want my brand to be positioned in the market, not only in terms of what my products look like, but how people purchase from me is an important part of that brand experience as well. So, yeah, totally. I think all of these points are absolutely valid and stuff that we talk about day in, day out.
Yeah, and I know like from talking to customers that are already trying to drive sales online, they say in a lot of cases that the customers just like don't do it, right? So to your point, maybe it's a training thing, but also I think in some scenarios when the online presence is outdated, it's just too difficult for them.
Yep.
So like simplicity is definitely key while still obviously having the right pricing and
Yeah.
shipping and all of that. But I just think that like the expectations are much higher than they were like even 5
100%.
years ago, right?
Yeah.
So we have to constantly keep evolving. And I know in this space, brands don't necessarily evolve at the pace that technology
No,
evolve, right? I just want
definitely
to
not.
name it like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
100%.
thing.
You're absolutely right, but I think it comes back to that thing that's always talked about when it comes to these like generational shifts is attention spans. Like attention spans
Yes.
are just so much less than they used to be. People's propensity and patience to put up with a website that's a little bit clunky, that has this kind of old school ordering process, they just won't deal with that like they used to. And so if you don't capture someone's attention, you don't keep it long enough, very fickle. Like it's a bit like the B2C world in that, if the website doesn't load fast enough, I'm probably going to go and buy my trainers from a different one. And so same kind of principle starts to apply in the B2B world. And where you've got this generational shift, the relationships that have been built up over years and years and years kind of unfortunately start to matter slightly less when you've got
Yeah.
changes in relationships going on anyway. And so if they can go and order from somewhere else and it's dead easy and it arrives on time, suddenly that convenience starts to take precedent over the relationship. And that's sad in a lot of ways, but it kind of is understandable as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, valid points. I agree. And this actually aligns with the next slide that we have.
Oh, cool.
So, the expectations, right? You were naming it. Like it's not as much about the relationship, it's more about ease of use, right?
Mm,
Like and making sure that the site's fast enough so people can find what they need. AI obviously, even though AI is evolving quickly. I think people are going to start expecting more from B2B sites around AI and like chat and just like ease of use, right? So it's
definitely.
just, there are so many things of why customers that are thinking of their digital maturity and how to level up online. Solutions like SparkLayer and Shopify is like a no-brainer because it's offering so much out of the box without having like a heavy lift in
Yeah.
customizations, right? That these things are like
Like,
so easy to approach, right?
absolutely. Yeah, totally. I think the thing that always rings true is with these types of conversations is that if you what tools like SparkLayer and Shopify do for B2B is bring the best of B2C and add the B2B kind of functionality that's needed on there as well. So, you know,
Exactly.
as you've rightly pointed out, and all of these points are actually like really valid things that you would expect from a B2C sort of experience. And
Yeah.
so you're talking about easy kind of product discovery. Well, that's something that's kind of actually a mantra that's taken from the B2C world and now is being applied to a B2B buying experience. And so yeah, absolutely. All of these things are things that are really needed in a B2B buying journey now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, where do people start? So, like, I know from talking to a lot of B2B customers that they invested in a platform maybe 5, 10 years ago, and it was such a large investment. It's still on their P&L, and it's quite painful to think of having to start over, right? Like, I understand how challenging that can be. But just want to highlight that, like, Shopify itself has evolved tremendously even in the
Mm.
past year. And what you could do, 2 years ago versus this year is very different. And I just wanted to name that. I think people don't understand and still sometimes see it as SMB solutions still. But we have a number of enterprise clients on Shopify, and B2B is a huge investment area for them. So it is working. And, if the solution out of the box isn't working for you because your B2B maturity is greater, that's where partners like SparkLayer come into play here. But I just kind of wanted to highlight some of the things that they're offering for anybody that's new to the Shopify space or maybe doesn't even understand that there is a B2B offering. And I think the thing to highlight here that the image on the screen kind of highlights is it's also quite interesting when you're either direct to consumer and want to add on wholesale, or vice versa, you're already wholesale and want to add on direct to consumer. With the B2B solution on Shopify, you can have one website and service the two clients. And we have a number of clients that love that solution, and some people just want to treat them very separately. So there are options of how you can handle that. But I'm just going to kind of breeze through these because you can either look at this on the Shopify website or go to Gentian's blog post. He wrote like the ultimate guide to Shopify.
It's really good.
Like if you want to know anything, it's all there.
Yeah.
But just to quick highlight some of the features, company profiles, you can have customer specific catalogs, quantity rules, volume pricing, personalization. There's tons of APIs so you can connect, and we have a slide further down for that. There are workflows that can optimize through Shopify Flow for different things. And they've also recently added on additional things around requesting to be able to purchase and sales reps permissions. And there are themes that are specific to B2B. So this is another thing I want to call out. You do want to utilize a theme that's already built to work with the B2B solutions, because otherwise it will be a customization. It doesn't work with the standard B2C website themes. So that's, just kind of keep your head in the space that if you do want to offer B2B, make sure you're looking at themes that support it so that you don't have to add on customizations. They also have bulk ordering, customer discounts, POs, etc. So like there's a pretty good list that you can look at online, but just wanted to call that out and just name also that they are investing and some of these features are still new, and SparkLayer has been in the space for 5 years. So obviously there was a huge gap before, and now you're still adding on features where you see opportunities where the Shopify solution is still kind of missing, right? And kind of wanted to highlight your thoughts on that, and if there's any customers that you want to talk about specifically. I know you already dove into like SparkLayer.
No, that's cool. I think you're absolutely right. So, I mean, just on the Shopify piece, they've come on leaps and bounds in terms of where they are from a B2B point of view. And, for a lot of customers, and just to call out as well that to get access to the B2B functionality, you do have to be on Shopify Plus. So,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
that is one of the areas where a lot of customers look at SparkLayer. If they don't have another reason to be on Shopify Plus, then maybe SparkLayer is an option that they can kind of look at as well. But it's, for sure, it's come on leaps and bounds. And if you're a Shopify Plus customer and you want to do B2B, then that hybrid approach works really well, as you were describing, Beth. So but yeah, a little bit about SparkLayer. As I've kind of touched on already, we're supporting about 2,500 merchants. Got a couple of case studies that have just been highlighted on the right there. So Nature's Path are one of our customers, and they launched with SparkLayer. And just coming back to some of the points we talked about in terms of millennial buying and the sort of buying habits changing. They went from like a completely manual order processing kind of approach to having SparkLayer set up with a website, and they saw some massive growth off the back of it. So 10x B2B growth and 400% average order value. So they seem like kind of crazy stats that shouldn't make any sense, but
Yeah.
I think
I believe it though, because
well, I think it just comes back to that point of like, if you can make product discovery really easy and make it so that your customers can actually find these things, then they're going to add more to the cart. If you can make it easy for them to be able to order and order again, then they're going to order more times. And so that these are basic principles that can apply, and it doesn't seem like something so simple should make such a massive impact, but for those guys it has. And and if it wasn't enough to do it once, then for soy as well, we saw a similar, if not quite as impressive, AOV surge, but 73% AOV is still pretty massive. So yeah, some of the brands that we're working with are seeing some really big impact just by having these self-service portals. So that's great. I think those are a couple of different examples, and I think, as Beth described, like we're trying to bring some really big features to Shopify, but also other e-commerce platforms like BigCommerce and Wix and WooCommerce and also Magento soon as well. So above and beyond where things like Shopify can support, we've got really strong functionality around sales reps and those types of things, and then also we've got some great functionality around quoting that we've just released too. So those are two major areas amongst others where we can kind of differentiate along from where the other platforms are.
Yeah, totally. We have a question here. So how does SparkLayer differ from Shopify? What are the use cases for merchants choosing SparkLayer over Shopify B2B?
Nice. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I probably just touched on them a little bit. So,
Yeah.
but I think if I was to summarize, like, if you're not on Shopify Plus, then it could make sense to look at SparkLayer if you've got a B2B kind of offering that you want to do. I would say also, coming back to your point around making sure that you pick a B2B ready theme. SparkLayer is quite easy to drop in on any theme, and we can
Yeah.
incorporate in the website. And I think if you've already built a really nice B2C website and you don't want to go through the process of customizing that to add in some of these B2B features, dropping in SparkLayer snippets is a lot easier and can add that B2B functionality with a bit more pace than a full kind of customization. So that could be another kind of reason why a lot of customers choose to use SparkLayer as well. But I think like I said, sales agents is a big reason why. We've put a lot of time into our sales agent tool, and although Shopify is kind of building that out as well, I think we've got a slightly different take on it, which a lot of customers like, and that quoting piece is absolutely huge as well. So being able to run a full kind of end-to-end quoting system inside that sales rep feature, which is a huge thing within the B2B space.
Totally. Yeah. I know it's definitely a pain point to not have that. So I love that you guys offer that and are continuing to invest in it. And I think, good question, by the way, whoever came up
Yeah,
with
great question.
and because we're talking about that, you can kind of plug in SparkLayer into any theme, which is super cool. I agree. I think that's a good way to think about it as well. But I think it's kind of useful to kind of see this too, because when you think about B2B, it's also like data and the flow of how you operate and everything. So do you want to talk through, like, this is kind of like end to end, right? Like you have your back,
Yeah.
e-commerce, your storefront. Like, I loved this on your website, how kind of broke it down. I'm a very like visual person to like
Yep.
keep it straight in my mind, but like maybe you can talk to this slide a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think the key here is that with B2B, and Beth, you'll have seen this in a lot of the projects that Shero have done, there's a lot of disparate data in a lot of different places. And when you're trying to
Yes.
bring that to an e-commerce platform, particularly an e-commerce platform that's natively really for B2C, what you're trying to do is enhance a lot of that data with B2B specific data that might live somewhere else. And so what we've got really good at SparkLayer is actually saying, okay, this is the B2B specific data that you need. So on the left-hand side there, we're probably getting that from some kind of ERP or maybe an accounting system in some cases, or maybe even a manual upload. But really that would incorporate things like price lists, customer specific data, and maybe some like product data and some enhancements around that as well. So things like pack sizing rules and that kind of thing. So those would be the kind of key bits that you might need to kind of grab from another system. And then what we're really doing at SparkLayer is getting all of that data and then bringing that into the e-commerce platform and displaying that in a way that incorporates all of those best bits of the B2C kind of buying journey that we talked about before and buying experience, but with that enhanced data from a B2B perspective. And then being able to put that into all of the kind of standard templates and things that a customer would expect to use from a storefront perspective. So it's all about kind of incorporating all the kind of back end data that a customer might have from a B2B point of view, with all the best bits of B2C without kind of compromising on any of that. and then making that a really, really smooth buying experience. So I think that's what this is trying to display, really. And you'll have seen that countless times, not just with SparkLayer, but with other systems as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's so valuable because what you're offering isn't just like a front end solution. It's really about connecting all the pieces so you can operate, right?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
and there's APIs with SparkLayer, but there's also you partner with Patchworks where you have these built templates essentially for these integrations to integrate with Shopify, Oracle, Dynamics, Bright Pearl, so it's just nice to see that you're
Yeah.
partnering with other software SaaS providers
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make
totally.
it easier, right? Um,
Definitely.
Oh, we have a question. Let's see, and then we can dive more into this. What integration success stories have you seen at SparkLayer, overcoming ERP complexity, streamlining tech stacks, etc.? Ooh,
Yeah, that's a biggie.
good one.
Um, I mean, to be honest, a lot of our enterprise customers specifically use ERP systems
Yeah.
of varying different types. I mean, some of the ones on the screen there, Patchworks have helped us to integrate things like NetSuite and Dynamics on countless occasions, really. That's been a pretty huge one. I know in Kuku that we work with, we've got a case study for those guys on our website. They actually use Chaos Control, which is one of the ones that's also listed on the screen there. And they had quite a lot of different bits that they wanted to try and integrate out of Chaos Control into SparkLayer and try and kind of manage that those bits of data almost to the point of the slide that we showed previously, really. Getting all of that B2B specific data in the right place, so that could be displayed to customers as they log in. And Living Proof, another example of a quite big customer. They sell dry shampoo. I think they're a Unilever owned brand. They've got SAP behind the scenes, and that's another one where we've had to overcome some complexities in terms of how that's managed as well. So yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, there's numerous examples, more than I can probably count. We've got a customer who's got 5,000 customer specific price lists that live in SAP,
Oh,
that we're
wow. That's a
we're
big
pulling,
one.
yeah, and we're pulling over our API and displaying as a customer logs in. So it can get really, really big and really complicated quite fast. And I think there's a lot of success stories of how we've kind of overcome those different pricing rules and different sort of priority orders of price lists and things like that in order to make a really smooth experience for someone when they've logged in.
Amazing. And do you see that because of, with B2B, the ERP integration and making sure fulfillment is done properly is like a critical piece, just to manage it, right? Like they're
Yeah.
not typically small operations. So do you see like, are people doing custom API integrations? Are they partnering with a Patchworks,
Yeah,
with an iPaaS solution? Like what's the
we've
kind of
seen
more
both.
use?
Yeah,
Okay,
we've
both.
we've
Okay.
seen we've
Yeah.
seen both. I think if I was to say, I'm not just saying this because they're a partner, but the ones that are most robust and the ones that go live the quickest will be the ones that use an iPaaS system,
Yeah.
just because it's often pre-built to an extent, or if it's not completely built, then it's like 80% of the way there already, and then you're just kind of configuring the rest of the 20%.
Right.
Whereas if you go down that custom sort of integration route, you're responsible for managing that for the rest of time, and things
So,
change, right? So
yeah.
um, we've seen both, and we obviously prefer to use the iPaaS route if possible. But yeah, you always get that hero customer who says they're gonna build it themselves, and you think, oh, okay, God, good luck.
Yeah, I hear I've seen both as well, and I agree. There's a lot of benefits to using an iPaaS besides just getting up and running quicker, right? Where you can save money because you're operational quicker, but also like the monitoring and all the great support that Patchworks offers. We're a Patchworks partner as well, so I just really just see so much value there, for
Yeah,
our customers that are utilizing their solution. And it's great that there's the templates, so it's like lower effort Not saying it's not hard or that there isn't effort required, because there definitely
Yeah,
is, but it just makes it more accessible, right?
100%. Yeah, it's about the longevity of the integration. That absolutely is there with Patchworks. You know, that's going to stand the test of time, and they're going to help you through that. And then also the speed with which you can get up and running. So both of those things are points to which are nailed by having something like Patchworks in place.
Awesome. All right, so I want to change gears just a little bit.
Okay.
So like we've talked about like the state of B2B, we've talked about like the tech, the online experience. Now let's talk about the buyers, the customer experience, and like the onboarding. So you have a great white paper that includes this topic of some tips on how to encourage buyers to use your new beautiful website that you've invested
Yeah.
time in. So I'd love you to run through this and give your thoughts on giving tips to B2B customers struggling to get people engaged in their new website. And, I often hear, oh, I built this thing, but nobody goes and uses it. And it does require effort, right? Like you
Yeah,
do
yeah, 100%.
change the mentality, the mindset. So I love that you had some highlights for this one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those things. It's like, oh, should I just get this tattooed on my forehead? Like, you need you need to invite your customers to your website. It's one of the biggest things that's quite frustrating about B2B, I think, is that oftentimes I see that merchants kind of get all of this shiny new functionality on a website, or even to build a complete, end-to-end new website, launch it, and then they sit there and go, why is no one shopping? Like, where
Yeah.
is everybody? And it's like, well,
Oops.
did you tell everyone that you launched the website? And then they're like, oh no, actually, we didn't forgot to mention it. And it's like, okay, well, firstly, replatforming or launch campaigns are kind of one of the biggest ones. So, um, I think in the customer adoption white paper, if not definitely a case study on our website, one of our customers, Snark, communicated this replatforming, and one of the things that they found is they actually re-engaged inactive accounts by
Mm,
communicating. Oh, we've actually launched this shiny new website. It's got all of these features on it, and sure as what do you know? Some customers that had disappeared and gone to competitors came back and said, actually, we will order from you now. So. I think that's
nice.
that's a that's a big win for just emailing your customers to say, hey, we've got a new website. Um, and I think point two on here is really around like ongoing training. So beyond just emailing them to say we've got a website, oftentimes like we assume that customers will say like, okay, well through intuition alone, I will know how to use this website. But in a B2B world, there are a lot of different features that will be on a website, and actually just spending a little bit of time to train your internal teams to support customers, but also the end customer to say this is how to use our website. Just running a couple of little webinars or drop-in sessions with them, absolutely valid ways to do that. And I think Gentech, one of our customers, actually filmed a short video and sent that out to their customers. And another one of our customers, actually, C2 Summit, I'm actually on their email list, and they do an amazing job. When SparkLayer release a new feature, they send it out to their customers and
Uh,
say, hey, there's this new feature on our website, as if it's sort of something they built, which is great. It's absolutely what we want people to do. So yeah, I think those are a couple of tips, and similar to that, you've got white glove support for VIPs. So if
right.
you've got really, really strong customers that have ordered from you for a long time, you really want to make sure that they're not put off by a new ordering process and go and disappear elsewhere. Like we said, people are quite fickle. So scheduling one-to-one calls, extra support for them, absolutely huge. And the last couple, incentivizing via discounts. So discounts is one of those words that can feel a little bit dirty in the B2B world. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
I've already got B2B specific pricing. A lot of our customers sort of talk about them as promotions, but particularly what we see is like free gifts,
Mm,
especially if you've got like a starter pack of products. So let's say that you're a jewelry brand, maybe the stand that goes on the point of sale system can be a free gift that comes with the starter pack, for example. Those things are really interesting things to look at. And then last one, just for five. So tailor everything that you're doing. Basically, you want to make it as personal as possible. So similar to the B2C world, but you want to just make that website, make all your emails, make everything just personalized to the person that you're sending it out to as much as possible. And that really gives you the best chance of success of getting people to use it. So yeah, really interesting topic. Lots of stuff that we've learned as a business around the 2,500 customers that we've brought on board, and some of the things that haven't worked, some things that have worked. But these are probably the top 5 things that we could say definitely a good things to try.
Yeah, I have one to add too, actually, but we got a question here. I think you answered the beginning, but I guess the last part makes sense. So, what adoption technique yields the most success? What do you think is most critical on this list? Or are they already ordered in priority?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, they probably are ordered in priority.
Yeah.
I think if I was to add one thing to that list, and something that I think is really important, particularly around that white glove support for VIPs, is to just get some feedback. And the
Yes.
the customers that we see do the best often will gather feedback in all of these different areas and then iterate on top of it from that point.
Yeah, I that was what I was going to add actually. We've seen customers where they'll pick like a small group of like beta clients, and before they
Mm,
even launch the site, have them go test it. Like they'll give them some sort of reward, to your point, maybe not a discount, but like a gift or like something special that's unique for them, to get that feedback and to make sure they feel comfortable in the new experience before even launching it. And then the feedback they take, they, make revisions and stuff, obviously. But with larger B2B sites, I think that's really important so that you can understand maybe where the sticking points are, where you need to train more, or like just getting that feedback can be so valuable, and also reassure
totally.
you that you are making the right steps forward, right? Just like validating that these are good changes, but maybe there's a tweak you need to make it even better, right?
100%. Yeah, totally. It's certainly not something to be overlooked. And you're absolutely right. Getting a focus group to launch with first can be a really powerful thing. So
Absolutely. So these are great topics. And the reason why we're here, we want to help B2B brands do, more online sales, obviously.
yeah, exactly.
And it matters. I think, moving along your business with the latest trends isn't just like a trend or something flashy, but it's really about empowering your business to do better, aligning with what your buyers expect, right? And what your sales reps and customer service team need. They also need to be empowered, because that can be a big blocker in this scenario
Yeah,
as well. If they don't feel supported, they're not going to follow through and help you with enablement and like just encouraging to use these systems that you're investing in.
totally. I think that point is absolutely valid. And I think it's also making sure that you can use those resources that you've got, like sales reps, to the best of, for their best value. And
Yep.
what you want your sales reps to be doing is going out and finding customers and bringing new revenue to your business. You don't want them just to be sat by the phone waiting for an order to come in and then putting it in a system. And as much as you can automate that side of the business, and make that really easy, and then have your sales reps repositioned to helping you grow, that's when you reach real scale rather than just kind of, bumbling along, putting things into an ERP.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard some really horror stories on this
Gosh.
subject. So wholeheartedly agree. So definitely want to make sure you give them the tools they need to feel successful. And the other big thing that I've seen is, because as the business grows, like, and different needs happen in general in tech, but like I think it's quite painful sometimes in this specific vertical, is that you've like added on a tool and then the system gets fragmented, right? And they're not
Yeah,
always talking to each other properly. The data might not be clean, or there's like 5 systems over here and a system over here, and they're like not all integrated. So just really using the tools that like integrate well and can streamline operations and usability, I think is so critical for the success. Because if someone has to go do something in 10 different systems to get an outcome, it's going to slow them down and make them really not effective, to your point.
yeah,
So
totally. Yeah, 100%. This is one of the bigger areas of it takes a little bit of time to scope out before, which is why working with someone like Shero and making sure that you've got a good partner in place to help with that is important, because it can be a real minefield trying to consolidate all of that stuff, and you need someone with it with a lot of expertise. So
Yeah, and you can oftentimes reduce cost, and
yeah,
sometimes like I know it's really painful if you invested a lot in something, but sometimes it's better to like cut your loss and just move forward like with a proper solution for your problems, than keep investing on top of something that's like just not going to scale long term,
100%. Yeah, you got to make that decision at some point and just cut off the rot basically, and get going, moving
Yeah.
forward.
Which can be very painful. I
Yeah,
feel your
easier
pain.
said than done.
And then obviously we want to leave you with, some ideas of how to stay ahead of your competition. Obviously, too, like as brands evolve in the B2B space, they're going to be upping their game. So like you don't want to fall behind, right? So this is another good reason to think about what you're doing with your online presence. If you're curious about Shopify, obviously go to the website, but they're releasing updates, big updates in the Shopify editions twice a year. So there's so much to learn in each of those.
Mhm.
And like, I love that point that you made, Alex, about the client that was like announcing the features you released at SparkLayer as if it was their own. You can do the same with the Shopify editions,
Yeah,
like a
100%.
nice
Yeah.
touch point. Like, here's a new feature that we have. So that's a cool one to bring full circle. And there's obviously a large community of people already using Shopify. There are tons of apps and themes. And I think the critical piece of this is to make sure you're familiar and like keeping things up to standard. Cause like if you added an app for bulk ordering, as an example, now it's native on Shopify.
Mhm.
So like you might not need that app anymore, so
Totally.
like you got to keep reassessing as you go and just think long term, what do I need and what do my buyers expect?
Yep.
I don't know if you have other thoughts on this
No,
one.
I think the title of this is something that shouldn't really be overlooked. Like you really are trying to stay ahead of the competition here, and I think particularly in the B2B world where you may be, let's say you're a legacy B2B, you know,
Mhm.
merchant who's listening to this, um, your competition will be building a website, then they probably will be following some kind of advice like this.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that we speak to week in, week out that felt they've been a little bit too slow on this, and therefore they've lost customers to competition. So this truly is stuff that is going to help you stay ahead, and keep your customers buying from you time and time again, and enhance your existing relationships with your customers rather than compete with them, or kind of detract away from the things that you've spent a lot of time to build. So yeah, that kind of thinking long term mindset, this is part of that. And how does this kind of work alongside all of the legacy that you've got as a great B2B business?
Amazing. I love it. So those are all our slides. I guess while we're still on this topic, but we can remove this slide. Are there any new updates at SparkLayer that you want to like tease a little bit or get people excited about? I know you said you're,
Yeah.
working on some stuff. I don't know if you can share anything, but I think that might be helpful for people to see where SparkLayer is going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's tons that we're working on all the time. I think the biggest bits that we've got kind of coming up are really around, actually how do we get more of the data out of more of the different systems that matter to B2B customers. So, um, without saying too much on that topic, but really thinking about things like accounting and that side of things, and how SparkLayer kind of interacts and enhances the receivables kind of experience, but also what that looks like in terms of invoicing and that side of things as well. So pretty major stuff coming along the lines of those types of things. More integrations coming up as well with more kind of back office systems, also. So that's pretty big. And then yeah, there's a lot more to kind of come on sales reps, on quoting, on where all that data kind of lives moving forward as well. So yeah, plenty to get excited about with SparkLayer's B2B roadmap.
Yay. I love it. I always love hearing about new shiny things. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I just think it's great because you guys are investing, like you really care about your customers and you want to empower them. So you're doing the right things, right? You
Yeah,
listen to your customers and you're adjusting and growing. So it's great to hear.
thank you.
And I guess just to like wrap up, any key takeaways that you want to leave our viewers with?
No, I think the key things really that we could summarize is just focus on the experience, listen to your customers, and just think about where your data is, get some help with kind of managing how to bring that all into one place, really. And if you do launch a website, make sure you tell everybody.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a bad one. Yeah, and I would also add as a takeaway, your points are really valid. One thing we didn't touch on is AI, right? Such a
Mm.
hot topic.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
But I think it goes back to the topic about data that you were talking about. I think making sure your data is very clean because in this day of AI, LLMs like ChatGPT, you want your website to be found, and more people are searching through LLMs like ChatGPT. So I think that's the other thing to keep in mind. I wouldn't say like in the B2B space, you're going to be creating agents per se yet, or maybe there's a good use case that you might be using agents or other AI tools. I think it's something to think about, like with chatbots. Obviously, no brainer; those have been around forever. Um, but being found, I think, is so critical. So,
Absolutely. Yeah,
just something to
100%.
think about.
Yeah, no, it's another area of, how do you stay ahead of the competition, and how do you do that? And frankly, like if your competition got ahead of you a little bit on uh, being, top of mind in the AI world, then that
Yeah,
is going to impact us at some point. So it's really important to keep on top of that. But also, I think AI can impact in other ways as well and make things a lot easier. Even SparkLayer is using a little bit of AI, whereby a customer can email a PDF to the cart and it will automatically populate with all the SKUs. So,
ooh,
yeah,
that's
so there's some
nice.
pretty shiny stuff going on there. But it's actually, I think, quite a useful use case for sales reps and for customers as well. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to come from AI, lots of like nice enhancements, and
Yes.
then there's the scary side of how do I stay top of mind with ChatGPT? How do
Yeah. And I guess like just do the basics right. Like
Yeah,
sometimes it's like just really making sure you're doing the basics correctly. I hate to say
definitely.
it.
No, it really is. I mean, I think that's the way to do it with things like these, LLMs, as you say, is just to, if you get the basics right with it and just kind of go with what you know so far, you're probably going to be ahead of someone else out there at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we really appreciate you joining us, Alex. It's been a pleasure. If people want to learn more about SparkLayer, where can they reach you?
Yeah, they can go to sparklayer.io, and we've got a ton of resources on there as well. Lots in the sort of customer adoption type topics, but also plenty of other stuff to kind of dig in as well. So yeah, sparklayer.io if you want to find out a little bit more, and you can book a demo with us if you want to find out more about the platform itself through there as well.
Yeah, and there's a fancy demo on the site, but definitely
There
they
is.
should reach out to you. And I love how the chat has your little face on there.
Yeah,
Reach out directly to
yeah,
Alex.
yeah. You speak directly to me.
Well, again, thank you. This has been a blast. Really appreciate your time. So more to come on all things B2B, and we'll see where the year takes us.
Love it.
So
Thanks for
thank
having me, Beth.
I'm just going to wrap up here. Thank you again for everybody joining. I hope you took away some real action items. I think, it's been a great conversation with Alex from SparkLayer. Lots of great content out there. If you're interested or need any information or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And look forward to seeing you at upcoming events. And that's a wrap. So I'm Beth Shero. Always be learning.